After just 6 months, my pan went from bright silver to pitch black. Here's what I've learned and how you can do it too. Hey guys, it's been about 6 months now since my last video, and this is what my pan looks like. I bought it in April, it's now January, so after a few mishaps, there's been about 6 months in between this being a stripped silver pan and now being completely black. And I want to share with you the things I've learned along the way. You want to use the seasoning method recommended by the manufacturer, in this case Matfer, or you could use it with other manufacturers too, the potato skin method essentially. Also, you want to clean it with salt and water only when necessary. For the majority of the time, just wipe out the pan and it'll be fine. Use salt for things that are stuck on a little bit, but there's still some fat in the pan, and if things are really hard to get out and you can't just rub it away, give it a quick rinse with a bristle brush under hot water and then heat to dry. Now there's 3 things I've learned that help you build up your seasoning as quickly as possible. First is frequency. You want to use your pan as often as possible. I use mine 1 to 2 times a day. It's always kept on the stove. You're not going to get a perfectly non-stick surface or as good as of one you could get from a carbon steel pan if you only use it once a week for an omelet. Second, use, particularly the type of use. You want to use your pan with high heat. One of my favorite dishes is fried rice. I heat the pan dry until it's smoking, throw in about a tablespoon or 2 of canola oil, and then fry my vegetables and rice right in the pan on as high of heat as you can get with your stove. It causes a lot of smoke, but it builds up that seasoning and blackens the pan. Another dish I like to use that requires high heat is pizza. Crank your oven as high as it can go, put the pan in there, and let it heat up for about 10 minutes. Pull it out, throw a little bit of oil in the pan, plop your dough down, top your pizza, put it back in the oven for about 10 more minutes. You're gonna have the crispiest crust you've ever had from a homemade pizza. Third, you want to stay away from corrosive ingredients. Now this is obvious for anyone who's done any research on using a carbon steel pan. You obviously do not want to put tomatoes or vinegar in the pan, right? But there are some things you may not know are corrosive, and it takes some trial and error to figure it out. 2 things that came up in my experience that I had no idea about were sambal and spinach. Now sambal is a chili garlic paste used to make sriracha and is a lot like other hot sauces. And most hot sauces will not corrode your pan and strip the seasoning off. But for some reason, sambal completely wrecked my pan about 6 months ago and I had to restart. So that is definitely one I would advise you watch out for. Another weird one, raw spinach. I did some research on it afterwards, and apparently there is a acidic element in raw spinach that strips the seasoning from the pan when you cook it in there. Is there an ingredient that you found stripped the seasoning straight from your pan and I haven't mentioned it? Let me know in the comments below. I'd appreciate the heads up. Okay guys, those are the 3 things I learned seasoning my pan over the past 6 months and what helped me bring it from brand new to completely black. Recap. You want to use your pan as often as possible, at least once a day. Second, you want to use high heat and just a little bit of oil to help develop new layers of seasoning on that pan. Third, be careful of what you're cooking with. Something may be corrosive that you don't realize, like raw spinach. Always test with a little bit of the ingredient first to make sure that it's not going to completely strip your pan. Follow these 3 simple guides and your pan will be black in no time. What these steps look like on a brand new pan, I have a new larger style Matfer carbon steel pan here that I got for Christmas, and I've used about less than 10 times. And you can already see the seasoning is developing on it. There's brown, it's sort of brown tinted all around, and then there's spots at the base of the pan where it's very dark, almost black. And that's in less than 10 uses. If you cook with the pan correctly, the seasoning is going to keep developing, layering on, becoming more nonstick. This pan already cooks eggs nonstick, no problem. And yours should too if you're using it properly. So just follow these steps, and this baby in about 6 months will be just as black as my smaller pan. That's it from me, guys. Happy New Year and happy seasoning.